What's up, family? As always, we just here to have a conversation and rock out. And if you get some value from this video, make sure you get this video a big thumbs up. As always, I'm just here to give my authentic thoughts, perspective, and insights. And just have an amazing conversation. Like I said, creating some dialogue as usual, per usual. But anyway, Nike's update on Caitlin Clark's signature shoe. Nike has finally provided an update on Caitlin Clark's signature shoe, which has been highly anticipated by us, the fans, right? There have been concerns about Nike's handling of Caitlin's deal, with some speculating that the contract may have not been done correctly, which could be a reason for the delay in the shoe's release. Fans are upset that other players such as A'ja Wilson and Paige Bueckers have received updates on their signature shoes before Caitlin Clark. Despite the hype surrounding Caitlin Clark's signing with Nike, the company has not made significant progress on her signature shoe, which was expected to be part of her 8-year, $28 million deal. Fans are predicting that Caitlin Clark's signature shoe may not be released until 2026 based on Nike's recent earnings call. And the delay in the shoes has led to speculation that Nike may be missing their golden opportunity to capitalize on Caitlin Clark's popularity. As we all know that Caitlin Clark is the golden goose. However, but the article goes on to say, as you guys see on the screen, Fever fans lament Caitlin Clark's signature shoe wait after Nike earnings report. A recent Nike earnings call has fans predicting when Clark's signature shoe will release, and they are unhappy with the outcome. Scroll down, it goes on to say, despite all the hype that came from Nike signing Indiana Fever superstar Caitlin Clark to a reported 8-year, $28 million deal that includes her receiving a signature shoe earlier this year, Nike hasn't done much with this contract to this point. Of course, a lot goes into creating a signature shoe for a player, and it would be unrealistic to imagine fans could already buy Clark's first signature shoe in 2024. Still, some fans are chalking up Nike's current sales struggles to them missing this golden opportunity, and this sentiment wasn't done any favors when an expert of Nike Q2 2025 earnings call transcript surfaced on social media Friday, which was December 20th, yesterday. One part of the report included Nike's president and CEO Elliott Hill saying, and I will show you guys now. It says, during the Nike Q2 earnings call, CEO Elliott Hill indicates that Caitlin's shoe will be coming in 2026. And it says, what is really funny for me to see coming back new to see is running these gender offense. Running this gender offense. We launched a women's basketball program, which I didn't think we'll ever do. Sabrina Matt already touched on it. Number 2 shoe in the NBA. And then we have A'ja and Caitlin coming back from behind, and behind that, sportswear, a new lineup around look at court, look at basketball, look at football, including the field general. So net is the products coming, and we're gaining confidence with each season. And we scroll up, and it goes on to say, and in basketball, which is in this case Ja Morant, on the men's basketball team, the Memphis Grizzlies, grew double digits. Kobe became the market's largest signature franchise, with demand far exceeding available supply. And Sabrina, too, made a statement as the NBA's second most worn sneaker this season, behind only the Kobe 6. Throughout Q2, we positioned Nike as the brand of athletes around key sports moments. So there you have it, folks. That was the take on all of that. And moving on, we have Megan Rapinoe's comments and backlash in regards of what Caitlin Clark had to say on the Times Magazine as she was awarded Athlete of the Year. So Megan Rapinoe has commented on Caitlin Clark's situation, acknowledging the privilege that comes with being a white athlete and emphasizing the importance of appreciating and investing in the contribution of black players in the league. Caitlin Clark's recent interview has sparked backlash, as we all know, with some criticizing her acknowledgement of her white privilege. The concept of allyship and liberation is tied to everyone's freedom. And speaking explicitly about white privilege can receive criticism of backlash, as we all know, because at the end of the day, we supported Caitlin Clark based off the basis of her just focusing on the sport and the competitiveness of the sport and basketball in itself, which is a skill, let alone their job. And we all know that Caitlin Clark is highly qualified for the job. And we just liked it that she didn't play into these drama queen antics, just like the rest of these drama queens in the league, but she focused on basketball, which we just wanted to see. But since she has added fuel and entertained it, that's why 60% of Caitlin Clark's fan base isn't feeling what she had to say. So, and especially conservative media. Conservative media and some fans have reacted negatively to Clark's comments, as we all know, which highlights the importance of speaking directly and clearly about one's stance in social issues. So, with no further ado, family, check this out.
Caitlin Clark was named Time Athlete of the Year. Caitlin gave a pretty in-depth interview to Time. She said in part, quote, "I want to say I've earned every single thing, but as a white person, there is privilege. A lot of those players in the league that have been really good have been black players. This league has been kind of built on them. The more we can appreciate that, highlight that, talk about that, and then continue to have brands and companies invest in those players that have made this league incredible, I think it's very important. I have to continue to try to change that. The more we can elevate black women, that's going to be a beautiful thing." There's been some backlash to Caitlin's interview, with some criticizing her acknowledgement of her white privilege. Megan, just what stood out to you in this piece and the response to it?
I think something that sort of stands out immediately, and we talked about it either last week or a couple weeks ago, was the Roxane Gay quote about allyship and just like putting yourself in it. There's no way to you play in the W. There's no way to stand outside of it or separate from it. It's always better. All of our liberation is.
That is false, because Caitlin Clark was staying outside of it when she was just focusing on basketball and ignoring Cheryl Swoops, ignoring what's the other coach? What is her name? She was the women's USA coach. What's her name? She was the women's basketball team for what's her name? Sorry, family. We raw and uncut here. What's her name? I think she's the coach of the Minnesota Lynx. What's her name? Cheryl Reeve. When Cheryl Reeve and Cheryl Swoops and all them was basically saying she wasn't qualified and she's just a rookie and we got to see more, and basically discrediting her breaking accolades and, you know, being a number one in for assists. And matter of fact, I'm going to break down Caitlin Clark accolades and just her first year at the WNBA. Her achievements so far, which is why she's Athlete of the Year, and you can't take that from her. She has been the WNBA All-Star team and won the NBA's Rookie of the Year, right? But her achievements, stats-wise, she basically already broke Cheryl Swoops. She already sets the Big Ten all-time assist record, right? When she played against Minnesota and became the first college basketball player to have 3,000 or more points and 900 or more assists and 800 or more rebounds in a career, right? But what I'm saying is, so my point is, she leads the league in assists. She's ranked 5th in total points. She's already averaging 1.3 steals and 0.7 blocks per game. Clark was nearly 90% or above in every category except for blocks, which she was the 89 percentile, right? And Clark was the first WNBA rookie and Indiana Fever player to record a triple-double. You know, and she set the franchise record for the most point, assist, double-doubles in a season in all time. You know what I'm saying? 15 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds a game. She set the record for the WNBA rookie record for most games in the season with these stats. And she set she did do a lot of turnovers, but, it's only for her first year to be phenomenal. The good outweighs the bad, right? So at the end of the day, my point is she was focused on basketball in itself and she really locked in. That's why she was able to be. We all know that she had the talent. We all know that she had the potential. We all know that she qualified. But my point is she honed in and focused and locked in and done what was beneficial for her team, but also for the league. And that's why she's phenomenal. And that's why individuals were, checking for her. She didn't entertain it. So when she goes on to say, Megan Rapinoe, she goes on to say, "Oh, you're in the league." Let me wind it back. Let me rewind it a little bit for what she just said. Let me rewind it because she just said something that I disagree with.
We talked about it either last week or a couple weeks ago. It was the Roxane Gay quote about allyship and just like putting yourself in it. There's no way to you play in the W. There's no way to stand outside of it or separate from it.
There's no way to stand outside of it or separate of it. I disagree. Because she wasn't adding no fuel to the fire, even entertaining these narratives until this Athlete of the Year award she got from Times Magazine, where she said what she said and gave her remarks. So that whole time, the whole year, rookie season year of Caitlin Clark, she didn't entertain the crap. And you saying, "Oh, she couldn't stay out of it," I'm not rocking with that. I'm sorry.
It's always better. Like all of our liberation is tied up in everybody else's liberation. So that is one thing. I think what Caitlin did in her quotes or in the article was speak explicitly about her white privilege. And that is what is receiving so much criticism or backlash. And that is the lesson. So, for conservative media coming at her now, that obviously they're just showing their whole ass. And, if fans are upset about her saying that and just acknowledging what is true, I think that says a lot. But I think the more that you speak directly to it, the clearer it becomes what your stance is. And then, you can't be used in that way. It doesn't really leave your beliefs or your stance as a white player to any sort of interpretation. You're taking the space and owning the narrative yourself. I think
that's why she shouldn't have entertained it. Because at the end of the day, Morgan Freeman said it best. The way to get away from this divisiveness, just don't entertain it. Don't say nothing about it. It'll die on its own. It's like you continue to add fuel to the fire, that famous saying, or you could just continue to spread unity. Let's keep it as simple as that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's basically, it's like this, right? You put a moldy orange next to good fruit. If you separate it, it won't spread. If you put them together, the mold is going to spread amongst each other in the whole entirety of all the fruits around it. So my question to you guys is, because we having a conversation here, right? And we rocking out. Whenever there is a positive story in women's sport, this is her stance on it, right? Basically navigating narratives in women's sports. And she's basically elaborating on that. Matter of fact, let's let her say a little bit more, and then I'm gonna ask you guys the question. We're gonna have a conversation.
Other thing that I'm constantly trying to think of and be aware of, and I want other people to be aware of also, anytime there's a positive story in women's sports, the sort of quote unquote area, is immediately flooded with divisive narratives. For lots of different reasons. Some of it's real people. I do believe that some of it is not even real people and bots and
you said you're the bot farms have taken over.
Well, yeah, totally. But for all of us to just be aware of that anytime there's anything positive or honestly just any news at all in women's sports, it's just immediately flooded with insanity and really divisive narratives. And then I think to that, when are we as athletes being used? When is your narrative when are your likes being used? When are the things that you're saying being used? Whether, this sort of ecosystem of people in women's sports that really do care about whether it's, athletes, fans, owners, people that work with teams, whatever. When are you being used by this, sort sort of like meta narrative or these like divisive narratives, and to be really smart about that. Like you have to be really strategic in what you say. I feel like we
Okay. We're going to leave it there. Now it's time to have a conversation, guys. We all know, and I believe Caitlin Clark will not say anything detrimental to ruin her brand, let alone not be beneficial in regards of being a marketing tool and being phenomenal as she is. However, and I believe that Caitlin Clark is highly aware that with come more power, much responsibility is required. But to go to her stance on, or her point that she just made, she's basically saying navigating narratives in women's sports. Whenever there's a positive story in women's sports, the narrative is also flooded with divisive stories, some of which may be fueled by bots and fake accounts. Why does it have to be bots and fake accounts? Why can't it just be the consumers that isn't rocking with the divisive dialogue? You know what I'm saying? We want to focus on basketball and the whole purpose of the sport, which is may the best win, the competitiveness of it, entertainment, right? And the way in which is the sole purpose of it in playing basketball. So, and then, saying athletes and Caitlin Clark are sometimes used as pawns in larger narratives, and it's essential to be aware of when and how and one narrative is being used. Well, put it like this. We are being useful and being utilized, okay? Just don't, now correct me if I'm wrong, family. You could use me, just don't abuse me. You feel me? Because at the end of the day, we can say that these athletes use the WNBA platform to have visibility, right? That's why we have a Sue Bird and we pay attention to these folks because they are part of the WNBA ecosystem in regards of them having visibility, even though they earned their position, but the franchise in itself is bigger than them. So they can use it, but at the end of the day, do not abuse in regards to being ignorant of the responsibility and how much visibility you're having. So I agree to the standpoint of the narratives, be aware of the narratives you're putting in because it could damage you and your brand and also the corporation, right? Responsibility. However, I don't like that she's saying use in the context of, oh, basically Caitlin Clark is being used as a pawn. If anything, we didn't like, and I'm going to just go say it how it is, and family, you could agree or disagree with what I'm saying when it comes to this pawn, and come about in this conversation about being used. Because right now we're talking about used and a pawn, right? When it comes towards when it comes to athletes in the WNBA, but more specifically, Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark has been used. She has earned her spot. She has basically qualified for the job. In this case of being WNBA, very phenomenal. She's more well than qualified, okay? And she's being used as a marketing tool to bring more visibility, not just to herself, but other great WNBA players around them that may not have much visibility, even though they've been in the league longer than Caitlin Clark. Phenomenal. Use each other for the greater purpose, positively benefiting for the whole sole purpose for individuals to be checking and rocking with the whole WNBA franchise and watching the league in itself, which translates to butts and seats and tickets, consumers, right? However, they have been abusing Caitlin Clark since she got into the league, and that's why us fans is like, dang, Caitlin Clark, you didn't have to bend the knee like that when they're basically abusing you, when you are putting food in their mouths and giving them charter flights and giving them things that they never had before, benefited off of your greatness as you brought more visibility and you brought more return on investments for investors who have been a lifeline of this league, because this league, the WNBA, has been going in debt and losing money every year. And basically, Caitlin Clark is cutting the red tape and trying to go green for this league to eventually profit, and the investors that are NBA owners invested in this WNBA want a return on their monies that they have been putting out for years, for 25 years. So we like, dang, Caitlin, you could have just been doing what you're doing. You've been doing great, rocking out. And at the end of the day, that's why you're so phenomenal. And this league is seeing the return on investment and seeing the benefits of you being here and going in the trajectory that we should be, that going in the right trajectory that it haven't been going in for years. Even with these players that have been here and couldn't do it, but Caitlin, you could do it, and you are the hope. But since she started pandering and feeding into this dialogue, now it's like, dang. I thought you was the one, Caitlin. I thought you wasn't going to entertain that crap. If anything, stay on the high road and lead. And show these women that have been drama queens how to conduct business and be classy as you are. We know you got it. You definitely got it, girl. So that's how we looking at it. But they've been abusing her and not using her in the right way, rightfully so. Just like not putting Caitlin Clark in the Olympics, the women's basketball team. Then you had Diana Taurasi in there, didn't play as much. You know what I'm saying? So the discussion around Clark's comments, you know, it does serve as a reminder to be mindful of the narrative surrounding women's sports and to speak directly and clearly about one's stance on social issues. But also, we as consumers, we're looking at it like, you know what? We don't want you pandering. We don't want you being a chameleon. You on this side, then you're on that side, and you're like, oh, it is white privilege, but then, oh, I just want to play basketball. That's where you lose the disconnect, and that's where we at with it. So at the end of the day, all we saying is don't flip-flop. Tell me who you are, make a stand, pick a side. Results will show. And when Caitlin Clark didn't entertain this divisiveness, results were showing. And nobody could take away from her success, and she's still going to be successful. We didn't expect Caitlin Clark to be entertaining this, and we wanted her to keep taking a higher role and don't entertain this crap. But comment down below you guys' perspective. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. On that note, family, I hope you got some value. If you did, make sure you get this video a big thumbs up on your way out the door. On that note, family, peace.